Okay, we're gonna try this again. 26 minutes, moving down past 8 o'clock. Good evening to you again. We do apologize for the delayed start. You must have heard me at the beginning of the program, but you know, with technical stuff, things can sometimes mess up a bit, but we are back. And Crystel has been patient, so thank you, Crystel, for your patience. And we thank the listeners as well and the viewers for their patience. Well, we initially cut off the other live because we were having some technical difficulties, but we know that those of you who view via Facebook are going to tune in to the program. Welcome, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed the first part of the program, I was basically just welcoming you to the program. Wherever you are, in whatever part of the world you are tonight, we thank you for choosing the In the Spotlight radio show. We also would like to thank our guest for being here with us, for joining us on the program tonight. I'll tell you who she is in just a while. For those of you who are not yet aware of who she is, she'll be joining us tonight on the program. But just to give you a heads up, next week we will have Annette Sanford is our guest confirmed for next week. And Annette is a young woman who is vying for the job of Kalinago chief in the Kalinago territory. Except for quite a few years ago, she might be the first lady in a while who have decided to take on the guys, the gentlemen, for the job of Kalinago chief, and she has consented to be on with us next week Monday on the In the Spotlight radio show, so do look out for next week's program. But tonight, in the studios of Q95 on the In the Spotlight radio show, we have a young lady who seems to be a very, very hard worker. Because she came here tonight and I'm saying, but Crystel, you look tired. So forgive her if you find that she's not looking, 100% like it's 8 o'clock in the morning. She's probably had a very, very long day. But I know how those days are, Crystel. There are days that I come here when I would prefer to be at home in my bed. But I'm here all the same to do the program. Crystel Hilton is her name. And she's one of the very talented young women in Dominica. And we'll tell you how in just a while. But I'll tell you, when I first met this young lady, it would have been at the blood bank. Yes. I first met Crystel at the blood bank, and I guess in getting to know a bit about her, we will know what's her involvement in being at the blood bank. So let us say good evening to Crystel. Crystel, good evening to you, my dear. Let us make sure that we have your mic.
Good evening.
Okay, let's see. Good evening again.
Good evening.
Okay, so this is your mic. I got your mic. Crystel, thank you so much for being here with us tonight for the In the Spotlight radio show. I use this opportunity, this program, as a matter of fact, to speak to the life of our people, the amazing things that they're doing, their experiences, their challenges, the good times, the bad times, the wonderful things, for them to talk about their inspirations, the things that inspire them, their motivations, and all of that. And you are a very young woman, and you seem to have a skill and a talent that I think the world should know about if they don't yet know about you. And I hope that, I know you've gotten quite a bit of exposure already, but I do hope that this program is going to assist you in getting even more exposure, because I want to see your name in lights.
Awesome.
I would like to see your name in lights if they've not yet been in lights as yet. Crystel, let me give you the opportunity to say good evening to everyone listening to the program, your fans, your friends, your family, whoever you choose to.
Good evening to everyone, all the listeners, fan-wide, family, friends. I think I got some messages saying, I'm watching you. Good evening, and further on that, I just want to say thank you for having me on your show in the spotlight. I should be the one saying thank you because I think it's a great opportunity.
And I will say to you, you are most welcome. I remember, as I said earlier on, Crystel, there's always a backstory with me and somebody. I met you for the first time, and there's a little funny something to that. I met you for the first time at the blood bank.
Yes.
And I don't know, probably if I didn't pay much attention to you at the time, but it was only afterwards I realized that it's you, the designer, who was. Do you remember what it was we were there for?
Yeah, we were celebrating World Blood Donor Day.
World Blood Donor Day. I actually came to give blood, but didn't actually give blood. And there was a reason, it was that time of the month. So, I really could not go and have them taking blood from me, and, I'm already, So, but I did come to give support, and I really liked being there. I'm actually a universal donor, so
awesome.
I can give to everybody, but I can only get from one like me. So I think that's something special and unique,
That's something we have in common.
You are a universal donor
yes,
too? Oh my goodness. Universal donors are really, really special, and there's not many of us. So we have to know each other. So in case we need blood at any time, I know now to say, well, Crystel and I have the same blood type, so you can call Crystel to give me some blood if I need some blood. But me, on the other hand, yes. Why are you laughing, Khadija? But both Crystel and myself can give to anybody.
Yeah.
So we can give to you if you need. Okay?
Thank you.
So just remember, if something happens to me today or tomorrow, and they said, oh my God, we need blood for Fadina,
Crystel.
turn to Crystel. Okay. But it was really nice meeting you all there, and I think we should probably even use the opportunity while we're at it. We're getting to know you, but we'll get to know you in a while. While we're on the giving blood topic, to encourage persons who are able to sign up at the blood bank at the hospital, so that they can give blood when blood is needed.
Yeah, so I want to encourage everybody. What we're trying to push is voluntary donation. Come and give blood. Come at the blood bank. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's a easygoing process. I mean, some people have their phobias and so on, but when you meet us at the blood bank, we'll cheer you up.
All right. I have actually given at the blood bank, so it's not that I just didn't give on that day in question, but I have already given, and I think one time I got a hot cup of chocolate afterwards. I think another time I got a malt afterwards. But it's something that when you do give, you feel really good about doing it, because it means that you're helping to save the life of somebody else. So be a donor. I think I'm on the list. They don't call me very often. I guess no. Which is good, but I was told though that you don't call the universal donors too often until you really need them.
Yeah.
So yeah, call me if you really, really, really need me. If you don't have no other choice.
We'll be calling.
So does that mean you're still at the blood bank?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am still at the blood bank.
So what do you do at the blood bank?
I'm a medical laboratory technician. So I did a lot with testing. There's the phlebotomy aspect of it where we actually take the blood.
Well, break it down, Crystel. Break it down. I saw somebody use that word in a post today. I'm like, oh, okay. I never use that word when I talk about giving blood, but okay.
Yeah, so as I said, the phlebotomy aspect, if you come to the blood bank, I might be one of the person who will have to insert that needle into your hands. It's not that bad, honestly, it's not bad. And I also do different tests, perform different tests. So yeah, that's about it. I mean, our work does not really end. A lot of people think that it's just at the blood donation center. I think that's just the beginning of the work, because there's so much more that we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we hope that after hearing beautiful Crystel tell you about the blood donation bank or the blood bank, whatever the case is, that you will volunteer to give. Oh God, somebody's already talking about your neck piece. Oh my goodness. Lisa, good evening to you. We're going to get into those in just a while. Okay, Lisa, a little patience. All right. So let us get to know you a bit better, Crystel. So we know you work at the blood bank. We know that you prick people. Do you like to do it?
Yeah, I do. I do.
People who
Is that a bad thing to say?
Yes. You know why? Because most of us, I think 99.9% of people hate needles.
Yeah.
And hate being pricked.
Yeah.
But I suspect those who do it, those who do the pricking, actually enjoy it.
Well, you have to give off positive energy, so I can be like all soggy and not wanting to do it, and then you have to give positive energy. So,
what kind of training is required to do what you do?
Well, we do on-the-job training actually for laboratory technicians. I mean, you may have sciences and so on. You can actually study medical laboratory technology. And we have a lot of people in the lab. Big up to my lab peeps. Who studied medical laboratory technology. And what else? That's basically it.
Okay, so I'll then ask you, is that something that you intend on pursuing?
Yes.
Aha.
Yes.
Aha.
I mean,
where you come from, Crystel?
I come from the fishing community of Biosh.
And you didn't bring me no fish? I mean, Kadisha, how does that work out, right? She's so proud. I come from the fishing community of Biosh.
Yeah, I love fish,
Okay.
particularly redfish.
I like tash.
Tash.
Redfish, yes.
Yes.
Tash. I like dolphin.
Right.
What else? What else do you like?
What else do I like? I'm very the polka dots.
That's it, tash.
Tash.
So me and you, we
Yeah,
twinning. We twinning here. It's tash. That is what is tash. I do not know the English name. But
maybe somebody could tell us.
yes, Delia Coffee Weeks. I see you on. What is the English name for tash? The type of redfish that Crystel and myself we love. Okay, so Biosh, tell me about Biosh.
Biosh is very small, so you know everybody. I don't know if that is a good or bad thing.
Could be a good
so
thing.
you know everybody, I have a lot of family there. My grandmother, my uncles, brothers, cousins. Sometimes people say, Crystel always have a cousin this, a cousin there. Yeah, I have a lot of cousins in Biosh. It's where I live is very quiet, and down in the community it's more vibrant.
It's more vibrant.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there a particular area within the community? If it's so small, I would think everywhere is Biosh, just one place.
Well, sometimes people call it, what do they say? They say it's on a kaye.
Okay.
So people usually think it's just deep down by the sea. But Biosh actually includes the hillside.
Okay.
So there's this place I'm from where we call it Paradise Hill. Yeah, Paradise. People ask me why you call it Paradise Hill. I guess because there's a lot of fruits, including mangoes, like toby. People love toby.
Is it like a Garden of Eden?
It's a bit over the top. But it's yeah, there's a lot of fruits.
Oh my goodness. Paradise Hill. You see, once the word paradise is used, you should know it must be a beautiful, nice, beautiful,
and
peaceful.
a great view.
A great view. That's a beautiful view. Okay. So tell me what life is like growing up in Biosh.
For one, I was always in the sea, but I'm afraid of what's in the sea. So everyone would basically run across the we call it the jetty, and I would be the one to actually creep across.
You're
so I would not be the one to just run across.
You're a coward. That's what you are.
And then I'd come to free if I had to jump off.
What you're afraid of?
Basically, you mean sea
In the sea, yes.
I'll give you a short scenario. I went snorkeling once.
Okay.
Far out in Tukari with one of my friends. She's actually from the US, right? And when I looked down, there was a bed of sea urchins. My heart started beating so quick. And I just decided to turn back. I was like, I have to go back. And then, like, I don't know if it was fear, but I felt like something stung my knee.
Mind over matter. I think that's what it was. Mind over matter. Did you see any evidence of that afterwards?
No.
Nothing didn't sting you.
I told
Crystel,
them
nothing didn't sting you.
I told them something stung me on my
No. There would have been some kind of evidence. A bump, a little hole, something, Crystel.
But at least you know where you want to say that you were afraid, so.
Yeah. But you live close to the sea, so you should enjoy the sea though, for what it has and what it has to offer. All right, so tell me about your family. Do you have brothers, sisters, your mom, your dad? Who are your peoples?
I have only brothers.
Oh.
Only brothers. So I'm a fighter.
You're a fighter,
I
literally.
I did not fight in school, though.
Pause.
I'm a fighter.
Are you a literal fighter?
My siblings and I, we had a few encounters, but that's just love. I call it love.
Brotherly love.
Yeah, brotherly
And sisterly love in that case.
Yes.
All right, but who won some of those bouts?
Well, they're stronger.
They're stronger, but I'm sure they made you stronger.
Yes, they did.
Yes, by taking you on.
Yeah,
in those
people
fights.
say I'm good for myself.
You're good for Ubokuko.
Yes.
Oui. So remind me not to cross you in a little fight. No, I won't. But that's good, So in terms of your brothers, what is it like growing up with the boys, other than the fights and the
Well, my brothers are very protective, so they'll be the ones to look out for me in certain situations. Other than that, they're very cool. They laugh a lot. They like to give jokes. I mean, they may vary in terms of personality. My oldest brother is very, very quiet. And then there's the one who's very outgoing. That's the second one. And then my last brother, I call him the spoiled one. People would usually think I am the spoiled one because I'm the only girl. But I say, I think the last one took that place.
So where are you in the ranking of this children?
I am the third.
The third. So there's two boys before you, then you, and then a last one. Okay. But your last name, I mean, when I hear about Hilton, I hear what Paris Hilton and the Hilton Empire and all the hotels and so on. Nuni Hilton no AC man. I didn't really know about Hilton in Dominica. So tell me about the background of Hilton.
That's a very expensive surname, so I was told. But yeah, I get that a lot. Everywhere that I go to, somebody has to mention Paris. And I just have to take a deep breath because I'm like, oh, here it comes, Paris Hilton.
Yes.
Or the Hilton Hotel.
And here I come again tonight with it.
Yeah.
You cannot run away from it, I'm sorry.
And I just know I'm just a simple girl named Crystel.
Yes.
Born to parents Stephanie and Pascal, and that's all I know Hilton-wise.
Really? So you don't know? So where did your Hilton though for Dominica come from?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. I never really researched in depth, but my grandfather, he lived in England for a while, most of his life.
Okay.
So that's
where was he born?
He was born in Dominica, I think.
Okay, Crystel, I'm going to give you some homework. You need to do some research on that Hilton last name, especially with what you're doing. And where you're already going, the direction in which you're already going. I mean, you've been to the US, and I'm sure it's going to come up, if it hasn't come up as yet, that people are going to ask you, as to, well, they're aware of they're familiar with the Hiltons in the US, but where is this Hilton in Dominica, and the small island Dominica? Where did Hilton come from? So I'm giving you some homework, Crystel.
Definitely.
Yes, as you expand, we need to understand a little bit more where your Hilton history and genes connect from. How about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Good stuff. So again, growing up in the community of Bioche, you would have attended primary school in that area as well, and in terms of your education,
yes, I went to Double Bioche primary school. Yeah, it was quite interesting.
It was quite interesting growing up in Bioche, going to school there. Why? Was it small groups of children? What was interesting about it?
I mean, the population was small, but I always remember Double and Bioche always had that battle going on. I don't know why. Up to this day, I still don't know why.
No?
I think it went before my time. Yeah.
And there's somewhat of a little rivalry between the two communities.
Yes. I'm not sure if it still happens now, but back then
it did. All right. And then so you went to that primary school, and then on to?
And then I went to the Isaiah Thomas Secondary School. Yes, my alma mater.
Your alma mater. Yes. What were your interests, your subject interests at Isaiah Thomas Secondary School?
That's just a good question. For one, I would say as a very creative person who's into art, there wasn't much variety. So you had to like just choose something that you could cope with. So I did sciences, and I actually remember enjoying that class. My business class, my business class was very, very, very interesting. I think it's because of the teacher, because I like when people tell stories for their teaching and so on, and that is what she did, and I was most intrigued in her class. Yes, I was so alert, but for some of the other classes, I would always be sketching on the desk sometimes, on my books.
Is that something that you were disappointed that you didn't have as part of your curriculum in terms of secondary school?
I would say yes. I was disappointed, but I mean, you still can't let that stop you. You have to just work with what you have and try to make the best out of it. But
based on your experience, is that something that you would like to see incorporated into school?
Yes, because I know that there are a lot of creatives like myself who actually need that. We will thrive better when we get something that we really want to do, that we're passionate about.
All right, we're talking to Crystel Hilton, and Crystel is a young Dominican fashion designer. She's a designer, beautiful, beautiful work that she does. And we are going in just a while to touch base with her and to begin to understand about her creative side. And we also have, for those of you who are viewing on social media, probably while we're taking the break, Khadija can move the camera across to the display that we have there. And when we come back, we are going to talk some more to Crystel Hilton. I want you all to remember her name, and I know you will, because of the Hilton aspect. You most definitely will. But this young lady is going to take Dominica and her abilities, her creativity to great heights. Keep it locked. We're coming right back.
love the shoes
And
so
bring it a
much.
little close,
Huh?
like so they can really see. Yeah, like.
I love the shoes so much. I want the shoes like that. Up close and
Right. Aren't those shoes just so beautiful?
yes. Detail, people, detail. Okay, pay attention to detail. Yeah. Okay. To try Mother's Day, that
With
makes
the one on her
excuse.
neck.
Yes. High fashion. What's that for the one? Style, style, original. Yeah, yeah, she's like. Your parents listen it? They listen it? I like that. Sorry, no.
Is it going?
What do you want? You sure you have the right thing?
Yeah, yeah.
That is supposed to have. Please, mom. Look at that.
That's this one that the issue.
John, you want the size in your one? So, that was it.
We're back. 6 minutes, moving up to the 9 o'clock hour. This is the In the Spotlight radio show featuring tonight a young Dominican designer by the name of Crystel Hilton. And just a while ago, those of you who are on social media, who are viewing live, were able to see some of her work while we took the break. And we continue again with Crystel from the fishing community of Bioche in Dominica. Bioche. I know that too was something, at one point in time. Is it Bioche? Is it Bioche?
Yeah.
What is it?
Bioche.
It's Bioche. So
Yeah.
say Bioche. All right. So Crystel, we're here tonight to talk about a beautiful talent that God has blessed you with. When did you discover that talent?
It started when I was much younger. I think I would say from primary school days. Because I'm not only an artisan, I'm also an artist. So I sketch, I paint as well. So when I was much younger, because I'm still young, I always remembered sketching a lot, like all in my books, my wall, my wardrobe, like anything I could find. I think it just gave me that sense of joy. So that's when I really discovered that, I'm that creative individual, I'm into art. And then on the fashion side, it started with me basically manipulating some of my custom-made jewelry. Yeah, because I didn't like how it was, so I tried to manipulate it so it could suit me better.
So that would be about at what stage in your life? How old?
That was actually a few years ago.
Just a few years
Just
ago.
a few years ago.
You realized that you had a skill, a natural skill, as a matter of fact, to do that. Who did you speak to about this when you realized that, you know, this is something that I have, a gift?
I would not say I spoke to anyone really. You know, sometimes you have some self-discovery and you just decide to start making stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my mother, she's so accustomed to me just creating. It's like at that instant when I started manipulating my jewelry, I started, okay, the first thing I remembered was some earrings, it was some hoops, and I had some crochet thread. And I decided, okay, what if I wrapped it around the hoops? How would it look? And I started doing that, and after adding some extra colors so it would blend in. And then one of my coworkers actually saw it, and she was like, that looks cute. And I was like,
okay, I'm onto something here.
yeah. So from then I decided, okay, I'm going to venture into more of the jewelry aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. And so your next step would be what?
The next step for me,
in terms of your discovery?
I decided to actually do an entire photo shoot with some young women from my community.
Mm-hmm.
And at first that was with some custom made jewelry, right? And when that photo shoot happened and I saw the reaction, I was like, okay, maybe I could use that photo shoot to create my page. Yeah. So I used those photos and I started, back then it was Chardonnay fashion. Yeah. Don't ask me what the Chardonnay is.
You see, she's telling me what not to ask. Because you know I was going to go there, right?
Yeah. I actually call it naturally I can be very shy, like all through high school.
I can tell that you still have a bit of that.
Yeah, sometimes, and sometimes I can be a totally different person, like just transform different energy, you know. And I kind of lost my thought there.
It's okay. We were talking about Chardonnay.
Yeah,
and your
Chardonnay
first,
fashion.
yes.
Okay, so when I decided to do the page, I used these models, including one of my coworkers. You know,
What did you create? What did you create?
I actually create some simple, the same earrings, simple earrings. Yeah, and I think it was some jewelry. It was custom made jewelry, but I just manipulated it and I changed it around. So it was not my original design, but it was something I just switched around, and I decided to among certain things, and I said, okay, that would look better, and then I started the page.
Okay, and you started your Facebook page with that.
Yes.
And you started showing off to the world what you can do in terms of your creativity. What do you call the type of designs that you do?
The type of designs that I do, I call myself basically a jewelry and accessory designer.
Okay,
so,
jewelry and accessory designer.
Yeah, but it's more tribal, like it's very bold and daring.
Okay, what inspires your work?
A lot of things. One, nature. If you watch, I love sunsets. I love sunset. As an artist, there are so many colors that comes up in the sunset, like the blues, the oranges, then you have the purple or violet, right? So these are just some of the things that inspires my art. And then I love watching the different African tribes and how they have so many. That was one of the things that inspired my tribal line as well. They had so many different ropes all around them, and when I saw that, I think it was on some Discovery Channel. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that is interesting. And what else? I would say different artisans basically in Dominica, Like we have the Calinagos, you see how they weave. I told my uncle, he actually makes, my grand uncle, he makes fish pots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was an instance where I actually wanted to learn how to make it, so I could probably do something with it in terms of making an accessory. So a lot of different things inspires me.
What is your favorite?
My favorite would be the African.
The African.
Yeah, tribal ways.
Yes. So when you conceptualizing your designs, do you think about making a piece? Do you think about making a set? Do you think of making the complete package? How does it come together? How do you decide on what it is you're going to do?
Well, it depends. And I would say it depends because recently, in a course that I was doing, it actually ended. It's something called the journey map. It actually study individuals. And I thought, okay, but I was kind of like doing that all the while. So you basically study a person and what suits them at what time, you know, what they would need most and so on. So I thought, okay, if I could just focus on seasons, then that would be a good start, because you can't just like decide one day to just, you can, if depends on where or how you get your inspiration from, you can just decide to just wake up one day and just start sketching something. But seasons, meaning that, or Quail season, independence celebrations, yeah, that would inspire me basically to start doing jewelry or accessories related to that. So I like to start on earrings. Yeah, I think it all comes together when you start from the simplest thing and then you go into the most complicated thing.
Tell me about the different pieces that you make. Earrings, neck pieces. What does your portfolio include?
Yeah, so in terms of jewelry, I do statement pieces that are neck pieces. I do earrings, bracelets. In terms of accessories, I do bags. Some may vary in terms of their different styles. And I also resurface shoes, which is
tough to do.
Very, I wouldn't say tough, but it's kind of like exciting in terms of transforming like any type of shoe into something different.
Okay, so pass me that one side of that shoe a while. So I have this one in my hand, and this one matches the neck piece right there. This almost looks like you bought it out of the store like this. How do you transform a shoe, a regular shoe, I guess we should have come with a different cover, into this? And this is what we're talking about. This right
first,
yes,
I would have to take some measurements.
Yes.
One. So most of my resurfacing, I use fabric, and a lot of people so far are into the African fabric. So I use fabric. I actually measure from end to end. Right? I can go into so much detail.
Yes,
so
we understand. Yes.
I measure from end to end, and then from there, when I actually put I call it the base, but it's actually the fabric all around the shoes, then I say, okay, I can go into details. So I add my little details all around and make sure that it's actually neat. Because
that's important.
Presentation is important.
Yes, absolutely. How long would it take you to do this? A pair?
Right now, it takes me about half an hour to do a pair.
Really?
Half an hour. Yeah. Over the years, basically, I tried to get better and better at what I do and time myself. Okay, how long will it take me to do this? And yeah, half an hour. I would say depending on the shoe.
Okay.
Depending on the shoe, because there are some shoes that are much more complicated than the others. To me, the pumps are the easiest
To do. Okay. Have you tried on some other shoes as well? Types of shoes?
Yes, I have. I have had some trials and testing.
Yeah.
Trying other shoes. I mean, there are some shoes that are very, very complicated. But yet still, you still have to try. You know, you can't just say, I can't every time. You have to try and test it out, get frustrated, say some words, not bad words, and then get results.
Tell me about the basic process. Again, we do not want you to give out your techniques and your secrets of what you do. But in terms of making a bracelet, let's say like one of the bracelets that you have there, that looks like a simple process.
That's very simple.
Very simple.
Very, very simple. All it takes is me and my fabric and just resurfacing.
And you use the term resurfacing. Is that...
It's actually for things like, let's say if you have stuff like earring blanks, jewelry findings that you already ordered, like in terms of materials, then you can just resurface them with anything, any fabric, leather.
Let us talk about the statement pieces that you come up with. How do you come up with those designs? And again, give us a sense of how these are done, again, without giving out your techniques and your secrets.
My tribal statement pieces to me are the most difficult ones, and it's very time consuming. It's a lot of work, very time consuming, and you still have to pay attention to details. It includes jewelry findings, putting it together. As you can see, everything is like, it's like a rope.
Yes.
As I told you, I got inspired by the Africans and all the ropes they used to have around them. So I actually saw, how do you call that, the African, they call it the African necklaces, right. But it's actually layers and layers of ropes, right? And I thought, okay, everyone has been doing that, a lot of people. So I thought, okay, I'm going to twist things around, make it unique to me. And then I came up with that. I came up with an S, as you can see. Yes. 2 S's missing.
Oh, an 8.
Yeah, so yeah, actually created an 8.
Yes, the figure 8.
And then I came up with this piece.
Who or what inspires you? Is there someone that you look to and you say, I really love the work of that person, and I am really inspired by that person and what they do?
As an artist, I would first say my mentor, one. Can I say several people?
Yes, yeah, of course.
My dad is number 1, right? And my mother as well. Mom, I'm not leaving you out. They are very creative, each of them in unique ways. My dad he designed my bed from scratch, made it as an artisan himself. I mean, he has several skills, but he actually made my bed that carved it out and everything. And number 2, my mentor, Hilary St. Clair. I'm not sure if you know him, but he's from BH as well, but he does not live there. But he actually taught me how to paint. And he taught me a lot about colors, different lightings, complementary colors. As you can see in my collection, I know what works when it comes to colors. I know what complements this, what complements that, and I like to put colors together. So he's number 2, and number 3, in the fashion sense, I would say Michael Kors. Every time I see a bag or a shoe actually designed by Michael Kors, I just kind of like stare. I stop for a moment and stare at it, and I was like, one day that could be me.
And one day it's going to be you.
Yeah.
One day it's going to be you. What makes your pieces unique and different from what already exists on the market?
Okay, that can be a tough question. What makes it unique? But for me, as you can see, I use a lot of colors, and I call it my bling sense actually. And then I like to, how to say that, manipulate things. So there's some people that say there's no original idea, but you can make an idea unique to you. As I said, how I transformed the tribal necklace layers of ropes into an 8 instead of just having it how everyone have it, layers on layers. I decided, okay, can I twist it around? I wish I brought the other necklace of mine where I actually braided the cords to actually make a statement piece. So I think these are some of the things that make me unique from the rest. I like to manipulate.
What have you how has the Dominican public responded to your work and your designs?
Yes, Felicia, I would say they love it. The Dominican public, I mean, there are some of them who have been very, very supportive and encouraging. Big ups to my diaspora family. When I went to my shows, they were so excited that a Dominican was actually there.
We'll talk about that in a
while. Also, when I posted some of my work with the models, I got a lot of response, encouragements, and people actually bought items from me. So that's a very, very huge step when somebody can say, okay, I love it enough to buy
that's right
it from you.
And to support you. Do you have a constant demand, a constant request? We're talking local still in terms of the local market.
I would say yes, and I think it comes with balancing time as well, because as you know, I have a day job as well, so it's a time, and I'm just one person.
You do everything yourself?
Not all the time. I have 2 awesome aunties who are artisans who really push in a lot of work when it comes to helping me out, especially for shows. So no one is an island.
Not at all, not at all. And it's good to acknowledge them and the support that they give to you. So outside of Dominica, you've not put on a show yet in Dominica, have you?
I have had a pre-launching.
Okay.
But I have never had my actual show yet.
No? Any particular reason why?
I was supposed to have a show actually just before Maria. I actually booked the venue and everything. It was supposed to be at Fort Young, and then Maria happened.
Maria happened.
Yes.
And we all know what happened when Maria happened. Yes.
Yeah.
But outside of that, Crystel, let's go beyond the Dominican shores. What kind of feedback have you been getting from outside of Dominica, and where has this taken you? How?
Okay. Where and how?
Yes.
One step at a time.
Yes.
When I travel to these countries, it's like a totally different world in terms of how they receive fashion on a whole. It's actually bigger than what I thought it was, because here you don't really see that as much. But when you step into these other countries, it's like
a whole different world.
I feel like I fit in, like I belong, I love my country. Just saying. But a lot of people actually have brought in some positive feedback when it comes to my work. And not only positive feedback, I mean, they have given me criticisms when necessary too.
And you have to take it once it's done constructively.
Yes, and it's important. I mean, you can't expect to grow and not take in criticisms. You have to learn from your mistakes or mishaps. And I would say that, you know, going to these other countries and you hear that positive feedback actually makes me feel so great. Makes me feel so great. And not only that, but I would call it the journey, because people, like, I've done other shows and then other designers would bring me and be like, Crystel, you are growing, meaning that you have improved so much, right?
Let us talk about, you've mentioned the shoes, right? So outside of Dominica, let us talk about where this has taken you. I know you had your own fashion. You had, you took part in your Milk and Honey. Yeah. But tell me about, where have you been outside of Dominica with this, and how were you able to get there? Was it somebody who saw your work and invited you to a fashion show? How did that work? So let's take it step by step. Where are some of the places that you've been able to show and display your work, and how were you able to get to those markets?
Okay, so I've only been doing this for, I call it a short period of time, because it's just within a 5-year period. Yeah. So within, I would say 2 years, I got invited to a lot of shows.
Okay.
I don't know how, but all I know is that I had my page. I used to post a lot of my work on there, and then one day somebody from Anguilla calls me and tells me, will you be willing to come and participate at the Anguilla Fashion Expo? Yeah. And for Local Fair Stands the Runway in New York, the same thing. I never really considered, you know, you would sit to go to a show and so on.
Push
People
yourself.
always ask me, like, will you be willing to come to this show? Same from Montreal. I showed in Montreal, that's Quebec. And it was the same thing. They asked me, I never went.
Let's talk about Anguilla. What was the Anguilla experience like? What happened there? What was it?
So Anguilla was my first show outside of Dominica. And that was a very, very nervous Crystel. Just like I'm nervous now.
Crystel, people don't get nervous with me. They relax after 5 minutes.
Yeah, so that is actually helping me, you know, get there.
Yes, you'll be fine. You're fine, my dear.
So I went to Anguilla, and it's like I did not know anything when it comes to having your own line as a baby. So it's like they saw my different designs posted on my page and so on. And I was like, will you come to Anguilla? And I decided, okay, you can do this. I did a little bit of research. I had a few sketches. I came up with 1 or 2 things apart from the sketches that I had. And I said, okay, one, because I am an artisan, so I don't really sew, right, in terms of clothing. So going out there, you have to show your jewelry and stuff, but I mean, you have to have clothing for your models.
That's right.
Because you're going as a jewelry and accessory designer. But remember, the other people who are there are actually fashion designers, so they deal a lot with clothing.
Right.
So I was like, oh boy, I can't sew, and I have to.
Are you sure you couldn't sew?
I hope. I hope I was sure back then. But I actually did the sketches, filled in the colors, went to Dupany, got my fabric, and I went to one of the seamstresses and I was like, okay, can you bring this to life? The first one told me, oh, this is too complicated.
Oh my goodness.
This is too complicated. Then I went elsewhere and I found Alvina. She has a school. So, and then she brought all my pieces in terms of the clothing to life, and I just had the jewelry. So the jewelry that I did for that show in particular was with bamboo and wires, different color wires. So I actually wrapped the wires around the bamboo, like different colors, and yeah, I had earrings, and then I had bangles similar to this. And I put everything together, although I was like, okay, there's something missing, because you know sometimes you launch a line but everything has to be in sync. But my first collection, it was like colors here, there and there. colors here, there, and there. And actually, it was a resort wear collection, so it had a lot of swimsuits and so forth. But when I went to Anguilla, I was very nervous because I still did not know what to expect. But I started getting a bit more calm and relaxed when I started to fit in, talk to a few people, designers like myself. Some of them were there for the first time, some were very experienced. I was with one designer from Barbados, actually, very experienced designer. So I think she helped me a lot to relax, you know, encouraged me as a young designer, even though I thought my collection was all over the place. But something came out of that entire experience at Anguilla, because before I left, there was this woman who owned a store actually in Anguilla. She's from the US, and she actually bought all of my jewelry.
What?
Everything. She was like, this is unique, like, this is really cool. And she was like, how many do you have? And I was like, okay, I just have for my models and just a few others that I brought just in case. And she bought every single item for her store.
That was amazing. And I'm sure she sold it all too.
Yes, yes. And I don't know, that just
It blew
encouraged
you
me.
away.
Yeah, a lot.
So that was the Anguilla experience.
That was
What did you take away from the Anguilla experience
Well,
in preparation for your next one?
Well, I learned that you had to be sure of what your model size is and how to choose your models to fit your clothing, because at first I was choosing my models but I didn't consider these factors.
Okay.
I was like, okay, she looks pretty. Oh, she's a Dominican, and we had two awesome Dominicans there. We had Ruth Auguste.
Okay.
Yes, and Nicole Morrison. So
Okay.
I think they gave my collection that extra
Life that it needed.
because
Yes.
they're very, very good.
I know
models.
them both. I know them
Yeah,
both.
so Ruth was actually the coach.
Yes.
Yeah, for the
Rufy,
models.
yes.
Yeah, and Nicole Morrison was actually walking.
One of the models
Yes,
herself. Good stuff. So that was the Anguilla experience. You got to sell everything you went with.
Yeah, that was amazing.
You learned a few things from there. And the next call came from where?
The next call came from Montreal.
By the way, before you continue, who funds your trip?
Well, actually for Anguilla, I would like to thank my mentor and my parents for pitching in. My mentor, Hilary Sinclair, always supportive. It's like, okay, you're going there? Awesome, I'll support you. And Jupiter gave me actually a percentage off on my materials, so that helped a lot.
Okay, good stuff. You should be able to just get material now. Anyway, moving along, your next call came from Montreal. Yes, tell us about Montreal.
Okay, and that was even more nerve-wracking.
Of course.
Yeah. I was like, okay, wow, Montreal. I think it was kind of like a shock because it's like totally unexpected. Like, how in the world somebody know that you're doing this in Dominica from Montreal? Like, how did that happen? And they asked me, actually corresponded with me through email, and I said, I thought about it for like a day, and I said, okay, yes, I will go to Montreal, and I will actually do things differently.
Yes, because you learned from Anguilla.
Yes. So I actually sketched, I love sketching, all my models. And I thought, okay, I didn't really sketch the clothing as yet, so it was just bare. And I thought, okay, what shall I do? And then the same thing I was telling you about, seeing the Africans with all the ropes. I was like, okay, my next collection is going to be named Tribal. And Tribal includes a lot of colors, a lot of the ropes, all the African colors you can think of, the African fabrics, everything. And I thought, okay, what are my models going to wear? And then I thought, okay, there's a black, I had a some throwovers in my closet. And I was like, okay, it was kind of like from the neck down, but I didn't like it that way. I thought, okay, maybe I can just make a style where I cut it horizontally and just place the jewelry on it so it would look like a mannequin on the models. And I came up with tribal, and my aunts actually pitched in a lot of work because I kind of like to procrastinate. I think I work best under pressure.
Pressure, not good.
Not good, because the same night I had to fly out, I was working and pushing in a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah. And they actually helped me with bringing the actual clothing to life. So it was like a mannequin, a live mannequin that I could place the jewelry on. That was the concept. And for Montreal, I was like, okay, that's an expensive trip.
Yes.
How in the world am I going to get funding for that?
Yes.
And I thought, okay, let me try something. I wrote some letters seeking sponsorship and so on. I had an emotional moment with the National Bank of Dominica, because I was like, you know, sometimes you just need somebody to say, I believe in you, or give you that extra push as a young person. Although sometimes you may have a little intrinsic motivation, but you need that extra external motivation. And they actually came on board and actually supported me on that venture.
Nice.
And I'm very, very, very appreciative. And also Ministry of Commerce came on board as well.
Well, I would expect them to.
Yes, yes. And my parents are always there, always there, pushing me, you know. And I got the funds I needed to go to Montreal. And as I always tell myself, I will never forget the people who actually supported me when I needed them the most.
Right.
And I would never forget the institutions like NBD, National Bank of Dominica. I'm like, if you aren't banking with National Bank of Dominica, you better start now.
I'll charge you.
Yeah, but that was a very emotional moment for me, because I felt like, you know, they were pushing a young person who never thought she'd reach that far. I went to Montreal, and it was nerve-wracking for me because I saw all these Caribbean giants in the fashion industry, like Calvin Softwell, Richard Young. Really and truly, they're just cool people. It was nice. Got to spend some time with them. And Gemma Heribans, who is actually the director of the entire Montreal Caribbean Fashion Week, very lovely lady, very lovely. Welcomed me into her home and told me if I was okay. I was so proud. She's actually from Grenada. She was so proud that somebody from the Caribbean, a young person from the Caribbean, is actually in Montreal.
Yes.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I want you to do this interview, and she didn't know how much I don't really like
interviews.
And I was like, yes.
Comes with the territory. Comes with the territory.
Yeah. And the night when I had to actually show my collection, from the time like I was done showing, and let me mention the fact that I actually, my whole music for that collection was actually done by Elevate Studios. It's Jameson, it's a friend of mine. He actually came on board and helped a lot with that. And Sheldon is a Trinidadian, but he came on board in terms of putting a brochure together, cards, so I can go with. So I got a lot of different help from my brother and his wife, who put in my business cards together. And I went to that show, and from the time that collection was done, like in terms of showing and going off of the runway, from the time I stepped out, there comes Caribbean vibrations right on my tail, and they're like, I want an interview right away. And yeah, as I told you, I'm always nervous when it comes to interviews.
Yes.
But it's like I was so full of energy and so hyped about it. Even though I was nervous, it's like the interview went smoothly.
Yes. And I think this is something that you have to get used to, because it comes with the territory. When you're involved in that line of business, You are going to be expected to be interviewed for magazines, for television,
Yeah.
for radio, whatever the case is, and you just have to be prepared for it.
You just have to.
When I have some time, you can come and I help you.
I should definitely take you up on that.
So overall though, how was the Montreal experience?
The Montreal experience was very, very great. I'd say awesome because for one, we got to like go out to different places, and imagine I went to this downtown Montreal, and I actually saw artists painting live. It was a building, and I actually recorded that. Every time now and then I would watch it again because
Yes.
it was so amazing to see that, you know.
And this is something you do as well.
Yes, I paint.
Yes.
Well, I haven't painted in a while, but
Yes. You have to focus, I guess, on one aspect and
yeah, it's good. I mean, you have to be a master. You may be multi-talented, but you have to be a master of one, at least one.
Yes.
You know, and I choose that field.
Awesome. So Montreal happened, and then came
New York.
New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, before New York, there was a few shows that I was invited to but could not attend
Okay.
due to circumstances beyond my control and due to the hurricane as well.
Okay.
And New York came. It was post Maria. Post Maria. That was in 2018. 28 Maria's 2017, right? Yeah. And that was 2018 from April. The show was in April, but you had to start sending your stuff from January.
Okay.
So I was like, how in the world is this going to happen? So I had to try to find my way up to New York so I could show. And this show is Wendy Isaac's show. She called it Looking for Stars the Runway. Right? And
Who is Wendy Isaac?
Wendy Isaac is actually a celebrity stylist. She's also a model as well. She's from St. Kitts.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very gorgeous woman and very like a boss-like attitude. She also has a boss-like attitude. We call her the boss lady. Yes, but she's very nice. Very nice. And I went to New York and it was like a totally different experience. I have family up in the US, but other
States in other states.
and so on. So I was on my own. You know? And I went up and I was like, okay, I'm in New York with my collection, but this time it was way better than tribal. So, I mean, it's a learning experience. I mean, you go to your first show, you go to your second show, and you're like, okay, I'm going to make this one better. So, Milk and Honey was actually inspired from that song, Bring Back the Milk and Honey.
Yes.
Yes, that richness.
Midnight Groovers. Yes.
So, post the hurricane, I was like, okay, we got a chance to really sit back because we're not on our phones, we're not surfing the web or anything, and observe nature. I mean, not that I want to go back to that.
No, so let me tell you, Papa Poche, no.
No. But I mean, it was good while it lasted. Not good, but you know what I mean. You got a chance to sit, observe nature, and everything around us, like the things that make us unique, like knowing how to post a hurricane, making sure that I go down to the river to wash my clothes. I could go down to the river, wash my own clothes, and that's something we're accustomed to, so it's not difficult for us. So I was like, okay, so these are some of the unique things that makes Dominica, you know, and makes Dominicans Dominicans. So I thought, okay, bring back the Milk and Honey. I'm going to name my collection Milk and Honey. And Milk and Honey was all white in terms of the garments, all white. And I really worked hard on those sketches because I wanted everything to just be in sync. And what made the collection stand out was the accessories. So it's all white garments and bold accessories. And I started including something different in terms of my design. I started doing something called smocking. Yeah. So I was like, how can I use smocking on my bags? And I actually learned that stitch at, there's a class that I attended. So I was like, okay, cool. let me do some smoking.
What is smoking?
So smoking is actually, oh my god, I just bite my tongue.
Oh no.
Smoking is actually a type of stitch. Well, it puts different type of stitches, right? So it basically allows for a gathering. So I was trying to make a gathering of my bag. So my bag was like round. So that is how I could get it to be round and to stretch actually. And I did that and I was like, okay, is that really going to work? And then I tried it again because it was difficult doing it on a leather. And trust me, my hands after that were very sore. And I tried that stitch and so on, and after several tries, not just one day,
Never give up.
yeah, it actually came together, and then I had this smocked bag. I wish I could.
Yes, I'm really trying to imagine
Yeah.
what the smoked bag look like.
But if everybody can go on my page,
Yes.
there's this model, all in white, together with me. I'm in a red dress on my Facebook page. Right, that's my profile pic. You'll see the smock bag in her hands.
Ah.
Yeah, so that was one of my statement
What is the
pieces.
page? What is the page they're going
It's
to?
Crystel Hilton.
Crystel Hilton.
Y
CRYSTL.
Hilton.
Crystel Hilton. And let's see. Aha. No, not this one.
No, it's not this one.
Okay.
Let's see if I get it for you.
Okay, Crystel is going to try to get it for us.
It's actually, yes, this one.
See? Ah,
That is
okay.
it.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's round and has a gathering on top, but the gathering was brought together by actually smoking.
Smoking.
Yeah.
Whatever you say smoking is, hey girl, you know what your smoking is because you are the one doing it. I'll wear the bag, but you and your smoking.
But it was also a learning experience
Yes.
for me because it's like you playing around with stuff and then you decide, okay, I learn a new stitch and how can I
Okay.
incorporate that new stitch in with my
Well,
new
somebody
collection?
says it's embroidery stitching
Yes. is it.
that gathers the fabric. Okay. Thank you for that, Delia. I trust you to know what that means, Delia. Thank you for that. Okay, we're just taking. Yes, this is in fact quite beautiful, and it's made with some local material. So we're just gonna take a break. Crystal just needs a moment. We're gonna take a break. We're coming right back. This is the In the Spotlight radio show.
Yeah, too much air.
Yeah. But this is one of my favorite things about it because especially the handle. Oh my god. Yeah. The handle is really cool.
Aspirations, untold stories, touching the human and personal side of our people's politics, religion, sports, business, music, culture, the media, and more. Getting to know our farmers, our public servants, youth, and the ordinary dominant. Listen to their stories. No limitations, no restrictions, no holds barred. In the Spotlight will also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday nights from 8 p.m.
I can good breathe and talk at the same time. You're just
You good? We're back at 20 minutes to the 10 o'clock hour, getting quite a bit of insight here from Crystel Hilton, our local designer, who has already got to show her work in Anguilla, in Montreal, in New York, and some other places as well. And I think this is just the beginning. For someone who has just gotten into this for about 5 years per se, I think that she has gotten to a great distance, and I think she has even more and further to go in terms of her achievements and showing of her work. And so, Crystel, before we just had a little,
Just needed some water.
yes, but you're all right. You're good. And we were talking about the New York fashion, the New York experience, and you were on your own, but it happened. You made it happen. And what was the overall feedback to your work in New York?
The overall feedback was great. Actually, Wendy Isaac used one of my bags on her show. So she has a show that she has on her Facebook as well, as a stylist, telling you what's good to wear and so on. So she used my bag, and that was an awesome and proud moment for me, because I was like, hey, that's my stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. When New York was so, like, everything was so fast. It's like I'm not accustomed to all the fast movement and everything. Even with choosing your models and the whole setup in terms of the entire show and getting your models dressed, and everything was just fast. And it's like you had to be on point. You had to be on point. And thank God that I had some awesome designer friends who were able to help me, because you know it's a lot, because you don't only have garments, you have jewelry as well. So you have to be putting on the jewelry, putting the garments, trying to make sure it lays nicely on your model. So it's a lot of work,
But you survived it.
Yes.
So my question next would be, what has come out from all of these opportunities to display your work in New York, in Montreal? For example, the lady in Anguilla, did you get to repeat? You know, what has come out from this?
I didn't really get to repeat with the lady in Anguilla, you know, because I would say there are things that are tough in terms of being here in Dominica, and even trying to get your products out there. It can be difficult, but I have had some awesome time networking, and this has allowed for me to be able to participate in other shows, get a larger clientele. There are people abroad who actually, when they had somebody come down, they sent for stuff from me, and that was really good. That was really good. And also, it has allowed for me to realize that there is so much more that I want to do in terms of perfecting the art. Like, I really don't think that I have arrived, you know, as yet. I think there's so much work to be done. It's a learning process for me every day, and I really, really want to get better and better. As I always say, you have to, like, not because you have a talent, you should just think, okay, I'm talented and that's it. You should always open up your minds to learning. You can do courses. I actually got accepted into SCAD, which is Savannah College of Art and Design. It's actually one of the top design schools in the US. I could not go because it's expensive, even after partial scholarships. Yeah, I felt a bit disappointed, but it was a joy for me to know that I could get accepted and be given partial scholarship based on my portfolio. So that means there's something there. There's something there, and they see potential in you. But design school is just way expensive.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. So I mean, I did a few courses. I mean, if you can't really afford to go there, you can always venture into doing the courses that you can afford to help yourself grow and master your art. So don't just rely on talent.
What is the end game for you, Crystel? What are you hoping to get out of this?
I want my creations to be known worldwide.
Your name and your creations.
Yeah. My work. I mean, I always say, like in some of my intros at my shows, that I like to share my inner creativity with the world. You know, it's who I am, it's what makes me unique. So I want my products to be seen on a worldwide stage. That is after I've mastered my art. And I also, I'm a business person as well. So I want to balance of things. I want to be able to do multiple stuff. I mean, not just the jewelry and accessories. I want to be able to be maybe the laboratory technologist who's a fashion designer. You know?
Odd combination.
Odd combination.
Odd combination.
Or the doctor who's a fashion designer. Or the lawyer who's a fashion designer.
Yes, yes.
I think it can work.
You think it can work?
I think it can.
And so you said you want to perfect your art, and I know you've had some challenges in terms of getting into design school, but what are you doing outside of that to get to the point where you perfect your art and you master what you're doing?
So recently I've done 2 courses with OECS, and one of them is, they call it the craft design, and then there's the fashion design, 2 courses. And honestly, like when I did the one for the craft, it just opened up my mind so much more. Like in terms of the way I go about doing a collection. As I told you, when I just started, my collection was all over the place. All over the place. But eventually I got there. You got to see, okay, I need to have that wow factor at the end of my collection, that statement piece, right? And then I need to have something that's unique in all of the garments or accessories that just flows, right? So these courses have really opened up my eyes, and my lecturer, Lezian, she's just brilliant.
When you did those courses?
Actually, it's online.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's online, so online platform. I get to see, it's like face to face. And I'm really grateful to OECS for really, you know, allowing for us to have that opportunity to do that course. And I encourage other people, talented people out there to, you know, get yourself involved in something that's educational. You know, learn something new, master your art.
What do you think are some of your shortcomings or maybe weaknesses that you need to work on to get to that end goal?
Yeah.
So is it your stitching? Is it your designs? Is it your material that you use? You know, what is it?
Yeah. I'm actually self-taught. I'm self-taught. So that was one of the things that got me very nervous, because you go to these shows and you see a lot of people, and some of them have gone to whatever design school, have had multiple degrees in design, and you know, it kind of makes you feel a bit intimidated. You know, and you feel a little nervous because you know, okay, I'm self-taught, I don't know as much as they know.
You don't know if what you're doing is right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's the correct way.
Exactly. So that was one of my limitations, you know, knowing what is the correct way to go about doing certain things. And what else? I think equipment as well. Equipment is important, because just I think yesterday or day before, it's like my needles just keep breaking on the leather each time, because it's not the right sewing machine for that.
Oh my God.
And you kind of like want to make like everything work with what you have, basically, but that is just another limitation.
How do you get what you need, Crystel? I mean,
I have to order most of my items.
So maybe I should rephrase that question. Who can help you in getting what you need? Because in my view, and I'm going back to the Ministry of Commerce here, right? I think that you are a tourism product for Dominica, right? You are a young lady with a talent that has taken you outside, beyond our shores, that the world has gotten to see your work. Well, not all of the world, but you know, you've got the opportunity to display your work out there. I think somebody needs to take you and nurture you, provide you with what you need at no cost to you. That's just I'm just saying, that's just my view, and maybe others may agree or disagree with me, and sort of nurture you and get you to where you need to be able to market this, make your mark with this, brand this, and Dominica gets, you know, gets sold on that as well. So who or what organization needs to take Crystel and Crystel Designs and just baby and nurture this and help you to grow, to develop, and to branch out into what you need to do?
That's an interesting question. How do I answer this one? Well, there's a saying, ask and you shall receive.
Have you
maybe
asked?
I haven't never really
Well, Crystel, you need to
asked, so
ask.
maybe I need to start asking properly. And I shall receive that, just like how I could ask for sponsorship to the shows.
And you got.
Maybe I need to,
I mean, this.
Sometimes it's fair to fear that, okay, maybe you'll not get that help that you need.
Hey, let me tell you, 99 doors may be closed, but one will open.
That's true.
And
That's
remember
true.
that, Crystel. Remember that. From tonight, you need to start putting your, whatever it is you need to put together, more passive. You need to put whatever you need to put together. You need to start knocking on some doors. You need to schedule some meetings. And you need to get some proper funding for your project. Because this is a project. This is a huge project. I mean, this is good stuff. You need to get your proper machines and your proper needles. And you need to get...
That's true.
Crystel.
Can't sleep.
Seriously, you need to take this on, and you need to knock on some doors. You need to get some money. You need to get some funding, and you need to, not only that, you need to get to that school. You need, even though Crystel is not for an entire year or 2 years or 6 months, something, because while you're self-taught, yes, imagine.
That's right.
If you get the real deal. If you get people to tell you, no, you've been going about this the wrong way. Alright? You've been going around this the wrong way. This is what you need to do. Make your work quicker, make your work smoother, cleaner, and all of that.
Yeah.
Young lady.
I think sometimes we get so accustomed because I'm so accustomed to working hard and putting my own money into what I do, getting my items that I can afford. Basically.
I think you've invested enough of your own money.
Yeah.
You need to invest some other people's money right now into that business. You have no idea how far you can go with this.
Yeah.
I mean, Crystel, people just saw your stuff on Facebook, and you got invited to Montreal and New York and Anguilla and wherever else you couldn't even go.
And this year I got invited to a few more shows.
Yes.
Actually. There's a major one coming up later this year. It's a very, very high-end show. And
you need to go with high-end stuff.
yes.
Now, how are you going to go with high-end stuff? Mommy and daddy and aunties cannot come to your rescue all the time. You really need to take this and run with it and knock on the right doors to get some help, to get you. Hey, don't never be too proud to beg. And I'm not saying that you're begging. You're making a request. If you're told no, at least you know you made the attempt and you made the effort to get some help for what it is that you're doing.
That's true.
Because this is good stuff. You know, not many people have those types of talents and those types of skills. Right, Crystel? Are you promising us here, because there's many people rooting for you out there, are you promising us from tonight that, I'm not saying you're going to do it tomorrow, but you're going to put this on your priority list, that you need to take this to the next level?
Yes, I'm making a promise.
Yes.
Hold me accountable.
We shall hold you accountable and we shall check upon you, because you will never know what doors can open for you until you knock on those doors.
That's true.
Right? And I know that you said you have people, I mean, you need to get to the point where you're going to have people working for you, my girl. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, you can do it. This is something you have proven that you can do it already, you know. You just need to get the additional guidance, the proper knowledge, the proper guidance, the proper information, the proper techniques, and all of that. And the sky's the limit for you, Miss Crystel Hilton. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So if for anything else we brought you on this program tonight, nervous or not, this is my first guest that stayed nervous right through the program.
I think I got relaxed along the way.
Yeah.
But we understand that we love her all the same. We don't mind at all. She's quite fine. What we're about is her talent, what she's able to do here. But Crystel, interestingly though, how do you do this? How do you work this out? How do you make this happen? You work at 8 to 4.
Yeah, and then after I put in the work after hours. Because I'm they used to say back then, you're all sauce. I'm with my youth group on Friday evenings at church. I go to church, I'm a born again believer.
Okay.
Then I'm at my workplace, then I'm doing my business work. You know, I'm into sports as well. Right, I used to be an athlete. I'm into sports. I just decided to rededicate my time to sports again. So it's trying to balance.
So you're
everything.
still in sports too, or no?
I've just started coming on board again.
Okay,
Yes,
alright.
yes. It's something I always love. Right, particularly track and field. You know, and just trying to balance my time here and there. From work, I put in late hours.
I
As you
could
can
tell
see.
when you came here tonight.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like saying to her, you realize we go live on Facebook, right? They're going to see your tired face.
Yeah.
Visual.
But I mean, you still have to be cautious. And
Yes,
know
yes.
that your health is important as well.
Tell me about it.
So sometimes, some days, like, I had to say, okay, Crystel, you need to just sleep. You need to relax.
Okay. All
But
right.
it happens.
Yeah, I'm sure there are the moments where you find yourself probably a bit overwhelmed with things that you have to do. But from what you're saying, you still find a way to strike the balance between this, your day job, and everything else that you do.
Yes.
But I get the sense while you have to put in that social aspect, and we of all people, I know exactly what you're talking about. But at some point, you know, you need to pause and say, okay, I'm going to focus on these two. But of course, you have to put in the time for church, as you say, and you have to put in some time for social activities. But Crystel, this right here, I'm going to just nicely say to you that probably you need to zero it down to day job, this, and one or two of the other things. Church for sure, a little bit of a social life, but we need to give this some more focus, and let's see how far this can take you. This could become your day and night job.
You invested now.
Mhm.
I feel like you invested now.
What's that?
I feel like you're invested now. You invested
Well,
now.
yes, you know, I mean, I know this young lady can succeed at this, you know, so she has to do that. I have to say to her though that she has to make a nice piece that I want to model. Okay, so yes, at some point, doesn't have to be now. Anytime you make a picture, say, Fidana could model this piece for me. Okay, I'm offering myself free of charge. All right, Chris. Oh my goodness, it's already 10 o'clock in the studios here at Q95. We started a little bit late, but we considering that she's tired, she's had a very long day. We're going to try to wind down, except if we can take a couple of calls, if there's anybody who would like to touch base with Crystel before we wrap up the program. Let's do so in the next couple of minutes. 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097. The overseas line is 1305-432-9624. If anything, you would probably just want to call and encourage her to pursue this, to knock on the doors that she needs to knock, to make sure that this can become her day and night. I know she loves whatever else that she does, but this is something that she could definitely invest in and make a business out of. I'm sure it's a business already, but you all know what I mean. I want to see the Crystel Hilton store.
Yes.
I want to see her, even if she doesn't sew, she designs. She can design clothing and do all of that. You know, that is what this is
So
all about.
I actually learned to sew my bag. So
You learn to
on
sew
my
your
own,
bags.
yeah.
You see, that you're really self-taught.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really let people talk to the lady. But yes, you can call and talk to her. I just gave the numbers. You can do that before we wrap up the program. Now, Crystel, somebody mentions, I saw somewhere that you also sing.
Yes, I do sing. It's not something that I go.
I'm not going to ask you to sing. Oh my goodness, I won't do that to you. I'm
No,
not at this
no.
hour.
I do sing. I'm actually I worship leader at my church.
Okay.
So I sing. I love it. It makes me feel free. I used to just go on my auntie's rock at home. It's close to the edge of the cliff area, and I sing to the trees. It
Okay.
made me feel relaxed.
Okay. Alright. Any particular preference? Gospel?
Yeah, I do a lot of gospel.
Alright, let's see if we can take this call. Good evening. Hello, good evening. Thank you. I do, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution as well to Crystal. And that's the kind of encouragement that our young people need. Our young people need to be supported. They need to be encouraged. They need to be guided. If you are somebody who is a consumer of our products, and you think that probably she could improve in an area, once it's constructive. You don't come and say, well, Crystal, you didn't see that thing properly then or whatever. No. Crystal, I really like this, but I think if you did it that way, it would be much better. And I think your customers would appreciate it more if it's done that way. That kind of thing. That's the kind of constructive feedback that we give to people if we intend on, helping them to improve. All right. So, Crystal, as it is right now, do you have products for purchase?
So what I do, I actually deal with clients.
Okay.
They call me, I call it my appointments.
Of course.
Because you have to balance up your time.
Mm-hmm.
And they would tell me, okay, what they would like in terms of design. Or if they have an idea and they want me to give a run through, how you can make this work, then I would do that.
Okay. All right.
I do stuff by seasons as well. So for
Okay.
the Independence, I will be launching a collection.
Nice.
Particularly jewelry.
Jewelry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What do you have a demand for most? What do people ask for?
Right now, people are asking a lot about my clutches.
Clutches. People like the clutches. All right. Good stuff. Okay. So, Crystal, if someone wants to make contact with you, to get a piece from you, to get whatever it is from you, to see your products, to get in contact with you, how do they do that?
So they could contact me on my page, that's Facebook, at Crystel Hilton. I am on Facebook as well as Instagram. For those of you who may not have Facebook and Instagram, you can contact me on my business number. That's WhatsApp and everything set up. So it's 612-8703.
All right. I suspect I have to work with Crystal on that number. Anyway. Side conversation, Felicia? Side conversation. Crystal, we have to get ready to wrap up the program. I know you have to get home. And what is it that you would like us to remember from tonight's program? And what is it that you're going to commit to us that you're going to do to take this to the next level?
Okay, well, I've already made a promise.
Right.
So I have to stick to my promise, to be more of a go-getter.
Yes.
In terms of getting things done. And what would I like you all to remember? Remember that I'm a very passionate individual, and I love designing. I love it. It's something that brings me joy. It's something that I would always do. Also remember that every day I'm growing, so this work may be 10 times better by next year.
Yes.
So always remember that. And I believe that I'm going somewhere. I mean, people always tell me one day you're going to be huge, and sometimes I find it amazing because I was like, how do you know that I'm going to be huge?
You are.
Or what confirmation?
You tell that to yourself though.
But then, yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to start telling that to yourself.
You have to internalize
You
that.
have to basically speak it into your life.
That's right.
So, I guarantee you, there's this song they had on the talent show where the guy was like, one day the world is going to know my name.
That's right.
So one day the world will know about Crystel Hilton's designs.
And I like the name. It's nice. I think it already has a nice flow. I mean, not just because of the Hilton part, you know, just the whole Crystel Hilton designs. I think is a good brand name, a good brand opportunity there for your products. And Crystel, we want to wish you well. And I know I'm saying that on behalf of everyone who is listening tonight, everyone who is viewing the program. We want to let you know that we want you to succeed. We want you to do well with this, but we want you to go after it a little more, with a little bit more passion and a little bit more confidence and a little bit more desire. And don't be afraid that doors will be shut in your face. That is expected, but a couple will open and things will work out. Your final word for the listeners and viewers tonight.
Okay, I just want to pick up people, my
Sure.
family,
Go right
my colleagues
ahead.
from listening right now. Big up to Judy, my cousin in diaspora, all the diaspora family. Also, I want to say hello to my youth who are tuned in right now. I mean, some of them look up to me, so you have to set that example.
Of course.
To all the listeners far and wide, to Filina Sango, who I forgot to mention was one of the seamstresses who brought my garments to life. She's very good. Also, I want to say that, you know, continue giving that support. I appreciate all the support received so far. And yeah, I'm going to keep growing and growing.
You are. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Crystel Hilton, our young Dominican designer who has big things to achieve. Yes, we put in the pressure on her. She's going to get there. She's going to get it done. On behalf of Kadisha, who is here giving some support tonight, and everyone who supports this program in one way or the other, thank you so much for your support, your love. Without you, we're not able to be here on a Monday night. All right.